Thanks everyone for coming. It's a great turnout tonight. For those that it's their first time, they don't know me, I'm Phil. I'm the MD of TRG. We're an engineering and tech recruitment business. We also run the Agile Roundabout. This is our 5th instalment. We've had a variety of topics and it's proven to be really popular. So we couldn't do it without you guys coming. We couldn't do it without great hosts like Trainline and speakers like Mick. Hopefully everybody finds today's talk really interesting. Mick's going to do a talk on the hidden challenges of digital transformation. Mick works at Salesforce now, but we know him from over the years. Rob's got a good relationship with him, so I'm sure you'll find it really interesting. And please enjoy it. The pizzas will arrive in about 50 minutes as well, so we'll feed you then. So yeah, enjoy the talk and we'll speak to you afterwards. Cheers.
Oh yeah, thank you all for coming out tonight. It's quite a big turnout for a Thursday. I wasn't expecting so many people. Maybe there's a concert on next or something. Anyway, yeah, so I know you've all come because digital transformation is a big craze at the moment. But has anyone not heard of digital transformation? It's a completely new topic to anyone. Still waiting, no one. So everyone here has heard of digital transformation. So, it's a big... You haven't heard of it, or you've got a question?
I've not heard of it.
So it's 2016, pretty much everyone's heard of it. It's one of the latest crazes. But I want you to cast your minds back to October 2013. What was happening back then that caused this craze? Why did people suddenly start searching for it, roundabout it? Any suggestions?
DevOps started.
That's a good one. Wasn't prepared for that answer. Any other answers I wasn't prepared for?
Marketing.
Marketing. The marketing of digital transformation.
Yeah, like Web 2.0.
Okay, so those are good answers, but I wanted to come here tonight and give you the definite answer. I wanted to say, this thing definitely caused this. So I spent hours, days of my life searching through the news from October 2013 to work out what was happening around here.
iPhone?
Pardon?
An iPhone launch?
iPhone launch. So I did look at all of the technology news. I looked at politics news, business news, science news, and I found something and I thought, this could be it. So this cat was the mayor of a town in Alaska. Maybe his speech was, I'm going to take over with digital transformation. Inspired cats all over the world. So I thought it had to be this, but I'm going to keep looking just in case there's something else. And I found something else too. Patrick Stewart dressed as a monster. He started this craze. Next time someone says digital transformation, I want you to think of this. Or maybe it wasn't this. Because I found something else that was even more convincing. I think it was North Korea. October 2013, they wanted to buy some ski lift from Switzerland. But Switzerland said, no, we're not selling you any ski lifts. So I think North Korea thought, people don't take us seriously. What can we do for people to take us seriously? What do all businesses do nowadays for people to take them seriously? Digital transformation, of course. Obviously there's a problem with this theory. Anyone know why this theory probably doesn't work? North Korea has basically banned the internet, so it probably wasn't there. The truth is, we may never know what caused this craze, but we do have to take it seriously. Technology is moving so fast now that if our company doesn't keep up, we may not survive. Elon Musk is trying to colonize Mars. Uber with their self-driving taxis. You can order a pizza and have it delivered by a drone. And you can now buy video games and computers for your dog. No joke, no joke. Have you seen the other one? It's like a mini double-decker bus, kitted out with computers and video games for your dog. Has anyone seen that? Okay, after this talk, you need to go and check it out. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So digital transformation, very big topic, very important, we all need to be doing it, blah, blah, blah. Which is why I'm so frustrated that I keep seeing companies making the same mistake, the same avoidable mistakes. I've worked with big tech companies, small startups who reach the scale stage. I've even worked on large-scale digital transformations in the UK government. I'm certainly glad that's over. And I keep seeing the same mistakes, and then I talk to people, they're saying the same things too. I come to conferences, read articles online, same problems everywhere. So tonight, I want to show you these problems that I've seen, so we can stop making them and start focusing on what's really important, building things that people care about. So let's get started. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to stop me. I invite you all to tell me I'm completely wrong about anything, so yeah, don't feel ashamed or just feel free to shout out. So the first hidden challenge is, anyone want to guess?
I don't know what it means.
Oh, do we have some prizes to give away? You can have the first piece of pizza, even though it's not my pizza to give away. Yes, what is it? What is this big digital thing everyone's talking about? I've heard so many different definitions. It's about social media marketing. It's about being data-driven. It's about being agile. It's about the Internet of Things. It's about taking your paper-based offline process and turning it into a digital online web page. Anything else we haven't covered yet? Anything else to add? So there's lots of things. But I think we can solve this problem right now. And I think this quote from Barry O'Reilly, one of the authors of Lean Enterprise, is a great place to start. So he's talking about three things. He's talking about content and experiences, providing new experiences to our customers, things they couldn't do before. I know every company says, of course we care about our customers, of course we listen to them, we have a feedback link on our homepage, they can tell us anything they want. A bit more than that. But secondly, he's also talking about experimentation, empowering people to run experiments. Not the old days of command and control, but having teams in our companies who can run experiments, put ideas in front of you and quickly get feedback. And he's also talking about the whole business. We don't really know where technology is going to go or competitors are going to try and disrupt our business model. So we need that flexibility to make changes to any part of our system. I've seen a lot of companies who are agile in some places but very restricted in other places. So I think that's the three things, and they can lead us to these three tenets. So, as we talked about, worship user needs. Go beyond having a feedback link on your web page and really start to understand what your users care about. And we'll talk about this more later. Culture of experimentation. Allow your people to run those experiments, to be iterative and to get feedback. And importantly, a lot of companies like to forget about this one. You need the technical flexibility to iterate quickly. If you have all these great ideas, you want to iterate quickly, get feedback from your customers, you don't really want your engineering departments to become the bottleneck. Oh, you need to wait 3 months until the next deploy. Never want to hear that again. So let's have a look at an example of this. This is Lindsay Brewer, who worked in the UK government. I worked quite closely with him and his teams. And they're talking about this new service they created. Allowed citizens, that's us, to do things online that we couldn't do before. So that's a new experience. But we do need to be a bit careful. And this is where a lot of people start to trip up over digital, thinking, oh, we'll just take this piece of paper and turn it into a web page. That's digital. The engineering capability to iterate very quickly. Engineering wasn't their bottleneck. So that's the first hidden challenge of digital transformation. We actually know what it is now, which is good. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Why does digital have to be digital? Not necessarily. It could be, it could take 2 years and just deliver one big bang. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it could do. I mean, most companies I work for nowadays, if they worked in 2-year increments, they wouldn't survive very long. But it's possible in some cases.
It doesn't. It's just this hard and fast. You're defining it. It's got to be iterative, almost like it's got to be agile. Not everywhere can be agile.
Pretty much every company I've worked for needed to iterate quicker. There are cases where you don't always need to be, but I'd say, yeah.
It's not a definition of digital, is it?
I think it is. I think digital is about being...
Why? Can you explain, sorry to interrupt, can you explain to me why that is?
So obviously we have this word digital first of all, which can mean anything. I had a digital alarm clock when I was 5 years old. It's nothing to do with any of it, but kind of to do with this stuff. So I'm telling you what I think digital will become now in the industry. Obviously it's an ambiguous word, digital. Oh, I'm doing this thing which has digital elements about it. Could it be construed as digital transformation? So what I'm talking about tonight is really modern companies, software development, building new services. I think that's what most people think about as digital transformation. Certainly a lot of government, that's what this means. But you're right, there could be cases where you don't need to be that digital.
Yeah, I mean, there are two things we're talking about. One is digital, and the other thing is agile. We're talking about early and iterative side.
No, I don't think so. I think digital is not just about using the technology, it's about the way we'll come to this. Actually, can we come back to this later? Because some of the things I'll talk about, we do touch on it. I'm not dodging a hard question.
No.
It is a hard question.
That's a question. Sorry. That's a question. The phrase transformation, because you define digital quite nicely, but transformation is slightly different.
Okay, I think we're going to come to that too. So, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Write your questions down because you may find some other questions as we go on. Don't forget these good questions. So let's move on to the second hidden challenge. You ready? Ignoring the marketing hype. So, as you talked about, we see it happening in the industry time and time again. This big, exciting new buzzword, which has so many different meanings, comes up from nowhere. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone says they're doing it. Everyone wants it on their CV. We have all of these thought leaders popping up, claiming to be experts. And we suddenly start thinking, oh, they're experts. We need experts to help us. We get lots of these consultancies popping up. I'm not bashing consultancies, please give me a chance. We get lots of these consultancies popping up. You go to their website and this digital word is everywhere. If you go to one of their web pages and you search for digital, your computer will blow up faster than a Galaxy S7. So, yeah, we need to be very careful about all of the marketing hype. And I worked in one company recently who thought, yeah, we need some experts. So I was hired, not as an expert, I was hired in delivery teams, more building the products and services. I'm helping them go from these monthly release cycles to iterating a bit more quickly, taking feedback from users, using it a bit more quickly. But these experts, these digital transformation strategy management consultant experts, very big job titles, they've also been brought in to take this existing business process and turn it into a digital process. And they were very busy people, always arranging meetings, coming round to your office and wanting to interview you, always creating these big new drawings. Anyway, after about 6 months of being important and not smiling once, seriously, 6 months they saw. I was there and saw them, not once did they smile. I guess that's how you need to be a digital transformation expert. Just don't smile. People will think you're an expert. Anyway, 6 months in, they arranged this big meeting. It was a hot sunny day. I remember coming to the meeting and started sticking all of these pieces of paper up on the wall. All very big and professional. It was in fact just one diagram of their new exciting process. And they were telling us how it all worked, how this thing would revolutionise their company, how amazing they were, how they personally saved this company. So I'm sitting there thinking, but I didn't have a chance to think much because I started feeling this knock in my leg. So I looked to my right, and the business analyst I'd been working with, he's got one hand over his mouth, he's knocking him with the other. So I took him to the coffee machine and I said, "You okay? What's wrong with you? That's not a normal thing to do." There is a point to this. So he showed me his laptop, he said, look at this diagram, I did that a year ago. Pretty much the exact same diagram, he'd done it a year ago. I showed it to management, he said. I showed it to everyone here, he said. But they wouldn't have it coming from me. So this company, they hired these expensive consultants, plural, on a 4-figure day rate. And they did it for 6 months, and they produced something the company could have produced themselves. In fact, they did produce it 12 months ago. So, I'm not saying let's forget about consultancies. I know a lot of talented people working in consultancies. I know a lot of great consultancies. I know I don't work for a consultancy anymore. But just be very careful. If you do think you need to hire a consultancy, maybe look back to the 3 tenets. How will this consultancy help you do those things? And just, yeah, make sure you do need a consultancy, because I bet you don't. Just kidding, consultants, you are needed, we do that. So, all this digital transformation is very ambiguous, as we found. And that leads us to the third hidden challenge, which is very similar to this one. Unless there's a slide I wasn't expecting here. Avoiding the magical technology solutions. Who has seen this? If we just buy this one thing, it will fix our company. If we just buy this one thing, everything will be fine. If we just buy this big enterprise service bus, our whole IT department will suddenly start iterating at the speed of light and will be legends. Who's seen that before? Who's seen that a lot? Who sees it all the time and wishes it would just go away? Me. I hate it. I hate the big technology solutions. What was I going to say next? Yeah. Oh no! I spoiled the surprise. So a company I was working for, another transformation project. I'm working, it's not the same company, it's another company. I tend to find myself in strange situations. Another company I've worked for, another transformation kind of project, helping them to build products and services faster. Working in these delivery teams, we're making good progress. Coming from waterfall, it was slow progress, a bit of friction, but we were making good progress. But we just had this one big problem. Every morning at stand-up, someone's always complaining about this. Every week at the retrospect, you look on the wall, and this one thing just has all the post-it notes on it. And there's like one post-it note in the corner. Someone's complaining about something random. Pretty much everyone's talking about this one thing. Anyone like to guess what this one thing they were complaining about was?
SharePoint.
It wasn't SharePoint, but not too far away. Any more guesses, or shall I just tell you? It was, in fact, the legacy IT system. We're trying to iterate quickly, held back by this legacy IT system. We're trying to get feedback from our users. We're trying to iterate quickly. We're trying to do all of these good things. We're trying to move from the sort of company, but this IT thing, we can't afford to wait 3 months for the next deployment. It's crazy. Anyway, me and a couple of other tech people, we had a great idea. We thought, we're going to take this to senior IT management. We create this nice business case. I do lots of fancy architecture diagrams. We sent it in an email. And I was just thinking to myself, amazing diagrams. It's going to work. They're just going to take these diagrams, one look, and fix everything. Anyway, next day comes around, and they got an email from the senior IT people. What do you think they said?
Nope.
Wrong. They said,
Don't have
next
time to
week.
read it.
No. No, not this company. They said, next week, next Friday, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to talk about these things you've raised. IT strategy. So, me and my colleagues, we were quite happy with that. We thought, yeah, the diagrams, the business case we put together, it worked. We're going to fix all these problems. We're going to start making progress in this company. Finally, after all the pain and torture. A couple of weeks rolls around, big meeting day. We're all sitting there in the office. Big IT man sat at the end of the table like a king, like he likes to sit there. His elbows on the table, he's got something important to say. Anyway, we're all just sitting there thinking, oh please, what's this good news? It's going to be good news. And then he stands up and he drops this bombshell. Programmers are a liability. The industry is moving towards generic rules engines and business process management tools so that we don't need programmers. I cried and I quit.
Same day?
I cried for a lot longer than I quit for. So this company, they weren't in a situation where this one magical tool would fix all their problems. They had lots of issues. The way they worked with customers, the way they built software, they just weren't ready to take these big magical tools and suddenly turn into an amazing happy place where everything just works. So be very careful about the magical technology solutions. The big enterprise software vendors, they love telling you you need these things. But you probably don't. In fact, I bet you don't. See if I can say that one more time tonight. So I think this leads us on to the next hidden challenge. Anyone like to take a guess?
Culture.
Oh, you are a very surprising audience. So these big technology solutions, they're not the answer, but fixing your culture is. Not buying enterprise service buses is a great place to start. Enabling cross-functional teams is an even better place. So lots of companies think about the technology, think about the consultants, don't really want to make the hard changes that enable them to go quickly. They like to have these horizontally layered organisations where things get handed over, but that's really too slow now. The best companies, they iterate faster because they do everything faster. They don't have 3 levels of management sign-off for every decision. Seriously, that's way too slow. Does anyone have that where they work? 4 layers, 5 layers, 6 layers. Seriously, it's way too slow. Having lots of teams that always have to constantly work together is a sign you need to worry about. If you can't create teams, you can just get on with building stuff. That's kind of a warning sign. It's not a universal rule, but if I'm working in a team and we're constantly having meetings with other teams as part of the normal way we build things, that's a problem to me. Just have to coordinate with these teams. It's just a bit too slow. So,
So you don't want to integrate with all these other things. How do you know you will deliver what the other teams need?
So, we do need to integrate teams. To think we can just have these happy bubbles where people go off and build stuff. The consultancies love to tell you that. I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying.
Not a consultancy, by the way.
Pardon?
I'm not a consultancy, by the way.
I like consultants, some of them. In fact, I like every consultant who's here, and I hate all the ones who aren't. So, what are we talking about? Yeah, companies don't really want to carve out these boundaries where people can just get on with building stuff. They tend to get distracted by all of these rituals. Renaming project managers to Scrum Masters, expecting magical things to happen. Calculating their velocity using gummy bears. That'll make it agile, right? So let's talk about another company I work for. Another company with problems. So, again, similar kind of thing, trying to get better at the way we work, trying to do things more quickly and iteratively, get faster how we make decisions. But there's a problem. I'm working in the government. Back in this time, has anyone heard of GDS? You work for GDS? Fantastic. I'm not going to say anything bad about you. You can go online and watch my last talk. Say all those things, no, I said good things really. So, back in the UK government, these lovely people called GDS, they said, government agencies, your big outsourcing contracts, your waterfall, you're wasting too much money, your services you're building are crap, we need to fix it. So they kind of, in a nice way, started whipping government agencies. Come on, those 3 tenets we talked about, do things quicker, get feedback from your users. They started saying that to government agencies. So I'm working in a government agency, and there's a problem. GDS are telling them, you have to kind of make decisions quicker, get more feedback, iterate quicker with your software. But the problem is, senior IT leadership. Wait, we have to let these teams make their own decisions. I don't want to do that. I like being the boss. I like signing decisions off. I've done this for 20 years and I'll not change now for GDS. But GDS are kind of saying I have to. What can we do? Let's do this. Let's create an extra horizontal layer in our system. So we'll have these digital teams. They can do the agile stuff. They can build the websites. When GDS come knocking, we'll say, look, we're agile. We've got a digital team. Tick that box. And it's called digital, which means we must be doing a digital transformation. Go away, GDS. Leave us alone. Can anyone guess what kind of problems this may have caused? Okay.
It's gaming it, so it's not real. It's gaming.
But why is that painful? What problems did that cause this organisation?
It's just going to bottleneck the
Yeah.
non-agile stuff.
Exactly.
Cost of delay, lead time.
Exactly. I'm working in these digital teams. We're trying to iterate quickly, and this isn't just one team. This is lots of teams. Oh, this is our layer, the orchestration layer. We've got another team who owns the API layer, and another team who owns the database layer. So, I'm in a meeting, and we want to add a text box to a web page. Citizens are telling us 3 address fields, a bit too small for my address, getting all these letters not coming to my house. Can I just give you my full address, please? Yeah, sure, we'll have a text box to the web page. How hard can that be? So, one meeting later, where there are 5 project managers sitting there, front-end project manager, back-end project managers by the 20, project managers from the big enterprise software vendor who was supplying products. Loads of people all sat around this table to add a text box to a web page. And that was after we spent days and weeks trying to get all of these people together at the same time. But don't worry, it's all paid for by the taxpayer.
Can I just add another question? But that's not digital transformation, that's just a simple change in the product that's live, isn't it? Just
well,
for
I
me,
mean,
digital transformation is when you're trying to push the business in a digital, what you class as digital from A to B. You're now just talking about small changes of a product that sounds like it's live because you said the customer is seeing that, they're having issues with that because they need another text box. So how does that move into your, or build into your digital transformation? Surely digital transformation is you're trying to do something big.
I think the thing is,
Actually, I could answer to that.
transformation.
The problem
Is it transformation or is this just
Well,
something as part? So for me,
so this was
No,
This was-
GDS was trying to push digital transformation. This is part solution to them trying to get to a transformation state.
Well, I would look at it as changing the culture.
yeah, so we're trying to fix the organisation where we can have these teams. I'd like to add a text box to a web page. Let's add a text box to a web page. It's lunchtime, we've done it. Instead, we have this thing where it's taking 3 weeks to add a text box to a web page. So we're trying to fix that to make it quicker.
So what you're saying is the process that they've implemented as part of the digital transformation doesn't work, and you found that out afterwards in part of your iterative continuous improvement of that product.
Yeah, so we're taking an old system that was offline, we're turning it into an online system. There's an old database that exists, which served the offline process, which allowed 3 address fields. So the first version of the system was kind of limited to the old database with some caveats. The caveats being we didn't simply want to take a piece of paper, turn it into a web page. We did lots of user research. So at this stage, we've transformed the product to being online, but the culture doesn't allow us to take feedback, implement it in the system, and continue to iterate. We're just, bottlenecks.
So this is after you've done the digital transformation.
Well, I think digital transformation is, in this government agency, it was ongoing. This was just one of the first services we built. We were trying to fix the whole culture of the organisation.
So that's where I'd say I disagree with you. For me, digital transformation is implementing the process, is implementing probably the MVP or the first part of the product as part of that transformation, and now you're getting into the continuous improvement of that product.
Yeah, so I'd say my definition does differ with yours. Obviously, it's a nice ambiguous phrase. That's why we're all here to try and work out what it is. But we can have this chat later, definitely.
excuse me, just there seems to be cross communication going on between the two of you, and that I think you're implying that was just one tiny little thing. that would happen multiple times a day, that you would need for multiple times a week, you would need to write a field here, a field here.
If I go through every case where this happened, I'll need to call my therapist. Please don't make me do that. Don't let me relive those memories, please.
Exactly. So
But it wasn't just a
tiny
one.
example of how
Tiny
very,
example of a completely broken culture.
how very non-agile that those grey areas are.
Yeah.
And of course, with all the things, all the time spent on doing these things, there's all the things that you didn't even think about trying to get done, which you might have done if you were super mega useful.
To be honest, I'd be happy with a text box on a web page. That was my goal at this company, and we couldn't achieve it. Couldn't achieve a text box on a web page. So, yeah, we can move on now. So, no. So this pattern actually has a name. This is something that consultancies like to sell. It's called Bi-modal IT. Think about it. You're a leader in the company. All your competitors say you need to be digital, you need to be agile, but changing those horizontal layers into vertical strips, it's not easy. So the consultancies come along and say, you need to try bi-modal IT. You can be agile in small parts of your system, but you can be normal in the other parts of your system. You can continue to be waterfall and IT. Basically what we just talked about. Bi-modal IT is a bad idea.
Yep.
We just saw why, and here's another reason. There's this idea, and if you're not a programmer, if you don't work closely with programmers, maybe it's not so obvious to you, but the idea that the more slowly you iterate your software, the better the quality, the more stable it will be. Sounds reasonable, right? If we don't keep making all these changes, it won't break. Problem is, that's completely wrong. That's just called doing programming wrong. Kind of. So bi-modal IT, I would advise you to keep away from it unless you know exactly why you need it. So this is where we need to get to. Firstly, we need these vertically aligned teams who own specific business capabilities or specific products or specific parts of your problem. For example, streaming and download. They may own the catalog, they may own the licensing. Because things in these boundaries, they change together most of the time. So, we'd like to enable some new high-quality streaming and downloading. I guess most of that work is going to be in this team. They don't have to collaborate with lots of other teams to work on that feature. You may need to add a new widget to your web page saying, downloaded this super high quality. But most of the work will be in this one team. So they may come to work, think, we'd like to add a text box to a web page. Let's do that. We can make decisions. We have the power to do that. That leads us to Hidden Challenge 5, as you just saw. Pretend you didn't see it. Achieving end-to-end continuous delivery. So this is what we talked about. You've got these autonomous teams who still need to work together sometimes. I'm not saying little islands of happiness, but we've got to that place. We've gone from the horizontal to the vertical layers. Now it's time to focus on our engineering capabilities that we can iterate very quickly. So we need to get towards this model. Have these autonomous teams. They need to own all of their technical pieces, the UI, the back-end business rules, and the data. You go to a meeting about adding a text box to a web page, and the only people there are you. It's your team, your web page, your business logic, your database. How long do you think that meeting will last?
About 15 minutes, I was thinking.
I'd say even less. I'd say there won't even be a meeting, because people will just get on with it and do it. You've identified a user need, you've got the engineering capability to implement it. Have a meeting, we just deployed that, move on to the next feature by now. That's how it should be, and this is how high-performing organizations work. Companies like Amazon deploy software 1,000 times a day, not because they have a meeting with 5 different teams at every piece of work. So, going back to what I talked about earlier, a lot of companies, there's this kind, I'm not saying it's an attitude where we think, oh, just hire a bunch of programmers and let them do things. But people don't realise that the more you invest in your software development capabilities, the faster your whole organisation can go. You can iterate quicker, you can build services quicker, but it does require a bit of change. You can program the same things in a lot of different ways. The way your team builds stuff, they can build quality into the software, so they don't have to do lots of manual testing. And that allows you to iterate very quickly. And that's where most companies are headed. That's where companies like Netflix, all these high-performing tech companies we hear about, they're iterating so rapidly because they've invested in their culture. They've basically got a bunch of smart people and said, get on with it. And this is the kind of thing they do. And any consultancies here who might do outsourcing work for their clients? So I'm not saying outsourcing is bad. I'm not picking on people who do software development for others. What I'm saying is, when you have someone building the software for you, you can introduce significant wait times into your overall lead time. For example, you may think you're clever negotiating the price with your consultancy. I know they always add 5% onto their prices, so I'll negotiate a bit, I know they'll come down. Problem is, you save 5%, and in those 2 days it took you to get the consent or the sign-off, your competitors have iterated 1,000 times, 2,000 times if they're at Amazon scale. So just be very careful. I'm not saying never outsource, that would be a bit too extreme.
Finance would really hate you.
A lot of people hate me. I'm sure a lot more people hate me after tonight's talk, so that's why I'm going. Well, yeah, I would just encourage anyone here, next time you're thinking about outsourcing, just think, do we invest in our own capability? If we could do this thing quicker, would there be a benefit to our business? Maybe let's not outsource it. Just have the thoughts. So, let's move on.
Excuse me, isn't lead times a problem basically wherever you have queues between different silos, not just outsourcing? So if you had your two autonomous teams and they had some sort of dependency between each other, lead times is a problem there. So you need to think about the queues that are in your system effectively.
In the context of point 5, which is about engineering culture, continuous delivery, it's normally, outsourcing is one example, but absolutely anywhere you've got bottlenecks and queues and you're waiting for things to happen, you need to be kind of looking at those thinking, can we speed up? Does it have to be that way? And outsourcing is just one example, as he says, there are lots more.
I'd also say that maybe it's a little bit misleading. Depending on how you're using your outsourcing company, they could be a capability delivering one slip of themselves. So they may not have a lead time. So it really is how you engage and use your...
So I have worked for companies, consultancies who like to do outsourcing. I do know how the game works a bit. So I do know they can be useful. If you're a small startup, for example, you want to get some MVPs out there, absolutely outsource it. These consultancies can build things quickly for you. That's a good example I've seen work. But if you're if you've got competitors who are iterating very quickly and you need to keep up with them, just be very careful about outsourcing at that point. If it's slowing you down, that's a cost to your business compared to your competitors. So outsourcing, is it good or bad? It depends. Consultants must love that answer. Anyway, let's get on to hidden challenge 6, which is overcoming resistance to change.
Interesting.
How do we solve this one in a 5-minute slot in a 45-minute talk? I was hoping you'd bring the answers to this one.
Politics. You've got to have allies at a higher echelon in the organisation, or it's not happening.
So I may not have the answers, but I do have a picture with some text on it.
Your point on the right side of if your competitors are iterating fast, then we need to be able to iterate fast, and they can hardly argue with that, it seems to me. And then what they can argue with is how.
No, you can do something. You can build a small team. Pick an example of something that we bring high visibility to the company with low impact and show the momentum. So here's what I built: a small team. We have loads of it, good impact.
And that's, I believe, I've been told some stories. That's exactly what GDS did. They kind of went to government and said, we can build something in a short amount of time, just give us a small amount of money. And the government kind of said, well, we spend 50 times that on every IT project. yeah, go on, have a try. And GDS did something, showed the benefits. Suddenly, they've got a whole of government working in these new ways. So yeah, that's one way, show the benefits. I don't claim to be an expert on organisational change, changing behaviours. I'm not a qualified psychologist, so take anything I say with a pinch of salt. But I have worked with lots of people, and it's not just one kind of person. It's not just the manager. It's not just the programmer who doesn't want to do fair programming. You've got a lot of those people about it. It's all kinds of people. So we're not going to solve this challenge, but I will give you something positive to think about. So I worked at this one company doing a transformation. It wasn't any of the other companies, or maybe it was, I can't remember. It's a true story though, it's a true story. So I'm working at this one company, doing a transformation, waterfall to Agile, and there's this one lady, she keeps saying to me, continuous delivery, you're wasting your time on me, I'm 56 years old, I'm going to retire in 4 years. Why are you trying to teach me? It's HTTP now, all these things you're throwing at me. I'm going to retire in 4 years. But the issue here wasn't that she didn't want to change, was she thought she couldn't change. And 2 months later, just like the rest of us, she loved continuous delivery. She was part of the team, iterating very quickly. She loved it. So, yeah, just look for where you can make a change. If someone wants to change, kind of focus on those people. That's my advice. That's not my greatest advice, but I think that's all I can say. But I just want to point out that resistance to change is a big problem. Every company I work for, I always see this problem, so we need to be aware of it, think about ways we can solve it. So let's get on to the final hidden challenge. I guess you're getting really bored of me right now. Can anyone guess what this one is? That's right, if you don't guess, it'll go away quickly. Remembering it's all about the user needs. So we get so excited with the technology, the digital bits, the IoT, the internet platforms, the Agile, the Scrum Masters. We do tend to forget the most important thing. It's about delivering those new experiences to customers, finding things that people actually care about, looking for things like the dog PC. We forget about those most important things and we get excited by the technology. So I've got a short story about something you can do. My advice is to get your whole organisation involved in user research. So before I worked in government, I used to be this programmer who had this idea in my head. Every time I touch a keyboard, every time my fingers touch that keyboard and write some code, I'm creating the most amazing code ever. And once it gets put in front of users, once they start using the systems I create, they're just sitting there thinking, which programmer made this? So fast, so easy to use, it's just amazing. If that programmer was here now, I'd just be falling apart in his or her hands. And then I went to work in the government. And those lovely GDS people, they were saying to government agencies, you must do lots of user research and you must get your programmers involved. So I'm working in these teams, we're building these services for citizens, new digital services, and we're building them all day long, building and testing them all day long. We know every piece of text, every button click, every valid combination of computers. We can whiz through this 15-page form in about 30 seconds. And of course, it's easy for us on our shiny new MacBooks. It must be easy to everyone else. So we thought. Then comes the user research. User research comes in one day. Okay, Nick, you guys, time to watch these user research videos. So I thought, I can't wait to see what the users think about our software. Can't wait to see what they think. Oh, they think that. Page 2 of a 15-page form, the user is almost crying. You're telling me I might go to prison if I say the wrong thing, but you're also saying if I don't say anything I might go to prison. What if I say the wrong thing by mistake? Oh, why is this thing jumping over here? Why am I suddenly on this page? Why are you asking me about car parking spaces? Just make this thing go away and let me live my life. That was a massive wake-up call for me. That's when I realised, wow, I kind of need to start seeing what users think about all of the choices I make on a day-to-day basis. And it wasn't just me. So kind of a government agency, used to their old ways of working, very top-down management. We used to get ideas coming down from management. Oh yeah, put the text in this very nice lawyery language. lawyers will love it, protects us from any gives us liability, but the users didn't like it. And yeah, showed it to the managers, oh wow. And eventually, they kind of got the idea that user needs must come first. And that was because everyone was involved in user research. Everyone could see the feedback to the choices they had been making. So, those were the 7 hidden challenges. Just had one final thing to say to you. Forget about digital, think about cultural transformation. Move to a culture in your organisation where people can make decisions quickly, they can have ideas, they can test them with users. Transform your engineering culture so you can iterate quickly. End-to-end continuous delivery. Think about activities that enable your programmers to build quality in, rather than lots of expensive handover phases. And finally, as we talked about, get everyone focused on user needs. Like I said, that's not a feedback link at the bottom of your web page. That means getting everyone involved in user research. And I recommend this is a great book. Probably all the things we talked about tonight, talked about them in much better detail than I ever could. And I've also got a lot of presents to buy this Christmas, so please buy a few copies of my book. Buy a few copies for all of your friends. Thank you very much.
Open season on Nick Tune for questions.
I'm going to have to go now.
Why did you use digital transformation buzzword in the name of this presentation? Since these challenges existed 5 years ago and will exist 5 years later.
Let me turn that one to you. Why did you come to a talk with digital transformation?
Yeah, since as you told us that consultants, they told us digital transformation, and we just go to sum it up.
Yeah, so I'm working at companies. I'm trying to focus on building things that people care about, improving the way we build software. And I just keep running into this digital transformation stuff, the agile rituals. It's getting to a point now where I'd rather come to this meetup and complain about things rather than sit at home and play on FIFA. It's getting on my nerves that much. I just want to work for companies where we can get stuff done, not keep making these stupid mistakes with politics and all of the West. That's why.
I've got a question about building cross-functional teams. I think a lot of people have bought into the fact that yes, it's a great way to innovate quickly and get your product, but you lose by desire, you gain autonomy, but you lose oversight, you lose leadership, you have a lot less eyes on the product. What are your thoughts in terms of how experienced people need to be to develop in that sort of culture when, for example, you need someone on the team who understands Data Protection Act, you need someone who understands security, and you have a lot less eyes on a product when you have those teams. I don't think it's any coincidence that the companies you mentioned, like Amazon and Netflix, pay 50% plus above average market rate for employees. I'm wondering what you would advise an organisation where maybe the finance team have set 45 grand as their maximum for a senior software engineer to do, and do you think you can achieve results with that sort of team versus an older model?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to go through in that.
Sorry.
In that essay, but I'll try and develop my way through it. So, firstly, I think there's this phrase that some smart companies use. They say, loosely coupled and highly aligned. So we want to have teams who can make decisions quickly, get on with making great products for users, implement software quickly. So they need to be loosely coupled and independent. But as you say, it's not these. I'm not going to explain. You can't just have these teams who work in a bubble. It doesn't work that way. You do have the cross-cutting concerns. I'm not going to reference the famous Spotify model that doesn't really exist, but the idea you can have groups in your company, like a front-end programming group, for example, where your front-end engineers get together once a week and have a chat about things, chat room in Slack. So that's the loosely coupled, aligned bit. Same for security. I think you can have, I've seen where you do have separate security people who are like consultants for each team. I don't think it's possible, I've not seen it possible for one company to have a security expert in every team. So I think, you do need a bit of coordination amongst the teams. I'm not saying none of that stuff. I've never seen that. Secondly, on the budget, I think absolutely you can do it on any budget. I've been lucky to work with companies, I won't talk about salaries, but there's a lot of information out there now about how we can get to these ways of working. Like the continuous delivery, lots of books, lots of conference talks you can go and read. You only really need like a small seed of people in your company who've done it before, who know how to achieve it, who can train the other people up. I've absolutely seen that work lots of times.
Cool, thanks.
Anything else I missed?
I think so.
Another question about cross-skilled teams. Do you not find it difficult when you've got lots of disciplines within a team to keep all those disciplines busy all the time, just the right amount of workload?
So let's start with the top product owners. They normally keep themselves quite busy. I don't have any problems with those people. Then we have Scrum Masters. Yeah, they normally find ways to keep themselves busy. They look very busy sitting in the corner on their big shiny MacBooks. Programmers and testers. So that's one place I've seen where you can have the handover phase. So I think the modern model, or lots of companies do this, is we don't make testing a specific activity in the pipeline. Testing comes after. So software developers build software, write their own tests, deploy the software. The tester's role is more the quality expert. Like a quality expert who looks further upstream and maybe does some ad hoc testing after.
And roles like user experience, business analysts, same kind of problem?
Yeah, I mean, I was working in a team not too long ago. We had Scrum Master, user researcher, business analyst. They all seem to keep themselves quite busy with lots of things.
Do you not find that some end up very busy, others end up with not that much to do, and then it's very difficult to keep everyone just the right amount of busy all the time?
Not really. I think user researchers, they just like, let me talk to users, let me talk to users, let me talk to users. Always out in the office talking to users. I've never really heard anyone say I need some work to do, but maybe they weren't telling us. So, I can't say it never happens. We do get bottlenecks and queues as we talked about earlier. So. But I think it can be avoided. I've never seen a problem. And there's always that case of, we don't want everyone to be always 100% busy because they can't react to things that happen when we quickly need them to support us.
Yeah, so back to the question asked earlier, which was what's the definition of transformation? Because my experience, you have experience, I've experienced with buying. People have different views on what is transformation. And that's where the problem starts from, the sense of whether you're agile, you're waterfall, or whatever. It depends on how you actually define it.
Absolutely, that's why people make so much money off it. What is it? Oh, this is digital, we're doing it the right way. No, 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 we're doing it the right way. Don't listen to them, give us your money. So yeah, all about marketing.
This question is about transformation, not digital or any transformation. I mean, my experience, right, I'll give it to you for what it's worth, is that transformation means, from a business perspective, is moving from A to B at a particular point in time, not iteratively once you get to B to C to D, E, F, G, and the rest of the alphabet.
Okay.
That's what I've seen.
But if you think about it, that's travelling. You've described the metaphor. You've gone from A to B travelling. That's not transformation.
That's not transformation.
The metaphor is all. To be fair, you know, the metaphor is.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Why people come to me? I'm not a consultant. I listen and say, right, we've got a digital transformation. This is what we're looking to do. So no one's ever said, I need a digital traveller.
Did you hear that? That is going to be next season hot job title. Digital traveller. Wow.
Actually, my
if you
book's
came out
out
tonight,
wow. It'll be on the shelves for Christmas. But I'm just saying, you can say this is what the Oxford Dictionary definition is, but that's what people want. And from my experience, what business wants from digital transformation is that it's not travel. It's all these people come to do the digital transformation, and then you do BAU after.
I'd say that's wrong though. I actually think that most people who say they want to do transformation people don't want to change. People want to go on and people want to take on a journey.
Right, so I'll give you an example for you for JLL I work for. I know they're not the sexiest company in the world, and they do have some consultants and contractors and a little bit of in-house.
I didn't say they were bad.
No, I'm just saying JLL, right? So it's a property company, yeah, no one likes estate agents. But they knew...
No one likes estate agents. We can agree on that.
Yeah, because I would like to think they came out and made it sexy. But what they wanted from the digital transformation is they knew their traditional side of the business was changing, and they needed to have a digital side of the business. For them, digital transformation was including that as part of their omni-channel. So when they came out of the transformation, they had that as a key thought process, or whatever you want to call it, in their business. And then after that, they had continuous improvement of their general day-to-day business, which is their sort of inner shop, face-to-face, but also that digital presence. And then after that, it's continuous improvement. Never once have I heard the sort of travel method. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist.
So what I'd say is, if they're not using technology and they want to use technology, technology itself is always moving. You need the capability not to get where technology is now, to be able to react whenever new things arise. That's what I would say based on this.
But it's sorry to interrupt, but it's like there's technology in business and there's digital in business. Right? To me, they're two different things.
What's that?
Pardon? Technology and digital. To me, they're two different things.
I'll say the same thing. Because at the end of the day, as I'm a change consultant and a BA, or whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, it changes, you're transforming, you're changing the way you actually think.
Yeah, that's change.
No, yeah, but the point is that the technology is actually an enabler of that, to actually just change it from one place to the other. So as you said, we're just moving across work from one business to the other. So it's just a change. Whether you're using technology or using language or whatever, you're just changing the way you think.
But is discrete change actually a good idea? So you talk about transformation, which is, I start here, I end there, and I'm great, but what do I do afterwards? Is being great good enough, or are we really talking about an improvement process which should go on indefinitely, rather than a discrete change?
And that's good transformation, is where you embed the processes that will continuously improve afterwards, and then generally after that you don't need their big transformation.
But surely you want to keep your continuous improvement sustainable, and selling it as a transformation, like we're going to come in and work some magic, is that not part of the problem? It's no, you need to keep getting better all the time, and that will never end. Yeah. That's actually what you're aiming for, not it's a discrete process, and at the end of it you can be great, you don't have to do anything.
Can I suggest this is now a conversation? So, it's fine. You guys can have that conversation. It's a great conversation, but you guys can have that conversation at the end. Does anybody else have any questions that hasn't been spoken about?
One of the best questions you love, what's in your book?
My book is just about this programming thing called domain-driven design, where we actually try and care about the software we're writing. You think about who might use this, what's the domain, it's not really that good.
What's the domain-driven design, not mainly design?
So you're not even going to bother signing a copy of it?
I didn't have any copies, they wouldn't give me any promotional copies. Well, I've had about 20 this year already. They kind of said, yeah, you've had enough now. And I thought, it's not really a programming user group, I won't try and push it too hard. So I did take it to another meetup, and they were like, don't want this rubbish, but keep it.
What's domain-driven design?
It's just a way of thinking for programmers, to think about more about the domain they're working in. So when we went back to this example earlier, so your programmers would work with your key stakeholders to work out these specific areas of the business. It's not the business saying we want these silos, and it's not the programmers saying we think we need these. It's about programmers working out, we understand that domain. We need a licensing part of the system, a licensing team, etc. And then helping them transform that into a technical reflection of the business problem, so you can iterate quickly. Like if we've got programmers and they think, we'll put a line around these things, and they kind of coupled those two parts of the domain, we're going to have lots of teams getting tripped up on each other to build the software. Working on a new feature, the goal is to have one team who can just make decisions quickly. So we try and align the software with this model.
Can I say something?
You can say anything you want. He's going to stop you.
I would like to add something what you just said. On this question, I would say that domain-driven design is actually the main step you need to take to be able to do some agile developments. Because that's the one thing which will improve amazingly the communication between actually the different steps of all your process. So it's going to improve the communication between your business and your developers, for example.
It's fantastic, mate, and I wouldn't argue with it, but I've had this about three times in large organisations, and every time they've just seen it's far too expensive, because you need more development.
That's probably the only times when well, that's going to become the conversation as well.
I'm going to have a conversation with everyone.
Am I going to get to a vote? I think you have questions.
Yeah, the other slide you had on the form section. Change from that to the other slide. Unless you have external consultants coming in, not sliding and all that. How do you do this going?
So
your own VA had its own internally development. How do you sell that?
the way I've seen this work is by, the way I've seen it work, and there's probably other ways to make it work, it's by bringing someone into your company who has achieved this before. So someone who's achieved this at another company, they know how to get.
It has to be an external intervention, for example.
It doesn't have. It can be bottom up from your programmers, but I've seen it more successful when it's kind of a senior IT manager, a CTO who comes in and says, we need to start getting to this model of verticals, aligning our technology with our problem domain. Most often I've seen it that way, but it doesn't have to be.
Assuming there's no internal champion for this, you start fighting the. We're always struggling trying to get a cross-functional team for all these managers. You get from that saying, what do you do? Resources.
Well, if you read my book about domain-driven design, at least you can get your technology aligned in verticals, ready for when the business switch over.
I'm going to allow one more question and then we can have some conversations afterwards. We've got some food, we don't want it to get too cold. It's already going a bit cold now. So one more question from someone that hasn't asked one, and then we'll are there any security issues working in this way in terms of being in silos and doing things the way you should be done?
I think security issues are just inherent to any software system. I guess in some systems it probably does make it work because you have these software systems that need to talk to each other. But the way the world's going now, all software is these small pieces that talk to each other anyway, so it's a problem we have to solve.
Cool. Nick's going to be around for a while anyway, so do go and talk to him, corner him. Thank you very much.